Welcome to the Dickie and Donny Show, presented by Business on Purpose. I am one of your hosts, Donny. I'm joined here by my co-host, Dickie, or Shawn Stinson. We are Dickie and Donny. We work for a coaching firm that exists to liberate business owners from chaos. It's what we do, day in and day out. And then I leave here and I don't do that anymore, and I go wrestle with my kids. So,
You
what do you do
liberate them from the
when you
chaos of
leave?
weak muscles.
I add at home. I add to all
You
chaos.
add
So,
all chaos.
Dickie, what do you do when you clock
Uh,
out?
I use a Sawzall, a mountain bike, train for
Mm,
triathlons, drink a beer, and hang out with my wife because my kids are all over the
man.
place now. Being in high school and middle school, they were just friends and scooters and driving, and our house is just a turnstile at this point.
Man, you know what I heard today? I was walking this morning and I listened to this podcast and they referenced, I want to say an old like Jewish leader, and I can't remember the name. It was C something Lewis, and it wasn't C.S. Lewis, C something Lewis. And what they said is they were talking about like men, how our families deserve for us to have passions. Like my kids need to see me enjoy things. Like they need to see me have fun hanging out with my friends. They need to see me get excited when I go play golf. For you, like your kid needs to see the joy you get when you
Mm.
go mountain bike, whatever. That's kind of the idea. And this is what struck me. And it's interesting because both of us alluded to this. They said, if you work with your hands, you need to Sabbath with your
Sabbath with your
mind.
mind. Yeah,
And
I've
if
heard
you
that.
work with your mind, you need to Sabbath with your hands. And just both of us, like in our role, there's a lot of our minds coming into play, a little typing, but that's about it. And you were mountain biking, doing all this. I'm wrestling with my kids. Like my
I
Sabbath
got to get
is,
off a screen. No
yes,
screens for me.
I was working a day with an electrician who's in the trades, and he said, "Dude, it's funny that I told him this." He goes, "It's funny you say that because when I go home and my wife asks me to do something, I say no, but I could stare at this computer screen the entire weekend." I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, I work with my hands all day long, so in my rest, I'll watch TV, I'll be on the computer. I don't mind working." He's like, "I just need to be on a screen because or in a book or something because I cannot work with my hands anymore." And I'm like, "I'm so opposite. When I get home, I'm like,
I got
where's
to
the
do
next thing I
something.
can do?" Yeah.
I've been stuck all
It's
day.
interesting. It's interesting. I've been
Yeah, yeah.
stuck in this little
There's some
cave in here.
people. There's some people that are. There's too many microphones in the world, and people might say that about our podcast as well. But there's too many people with microphones, and they'll all go out and say, "Yeah, men shouldn't have any hobbies. Your hobby should be marriage, and family, and this." And I mean, hobbies can control you, right? Like you're not going to spend 5 hours on a weekend
Oh,
playing golf. They can control you for sure, but to say that men shouldn't have hobbies, they should only, be head down working doing that, I think that's kind of dumb, in my
well,
opinion.
think
In
about
my
what your
humble opinion.
kids. You are very humble, I think. I don't know you well
Sometimes.
though. One of the things they alluded to with it was like, there are people, and I think this is probably where they get it, where there are husbands that overdo hobbies, and it's like you're never home with your family. Like,
Yeah, right.
if you have a chance to leave work early, it's to go to the driving range or you name it. Like, they're not at home with their family. And they asked this question of which one do you think is more often dads or husbands or fathers that don't like engage in a passion because they feel guilty or they feel whatever, or where dads are too out there and not with their family enough. And he made a good point. He's like, man, I feel like it's primarily based on like your resources. If you have the ability to more easily handle things, I'm thinking for us, like if we had a clear cut childcare solution where my wife and I could do a date night whenever we wanted, I could go for 2 hours and get dinner with some buddies or whatever it is. Like if I had the ability to never worry about me not being there, being harder on her, I would
Yeah,
definitely do more. So like
right.
there's just a lot of balance there. But I agree. I mean, think of if my kid grows up and he's like, man, my dad worked so hard and he came home exhausted every night. My kid knows that I worked hard, but my kid does not get to see me love my wife. He does not get to see me engage in play. He does not get to see me like engage in creativity or to be goofy or to like tickle him and then like act like it's funny when he tickles like it all the like that's what I want him to know. And I do work
Mm.
hard, but I don't want to come home and him be like, yeah, my I don't really know who my dad is, but he worked really hard. Like I just that doesn't do it for me.
Well, that kind of hit me this week where I've been working head down for a month. I was traveling 3 times this month,
Yeah.
had a ton of work on a rental
But you
house
got to
and
see
trying.
me on one of the
I did
things.
get to see
So
you. Did get to
that was
see you. That
fun.
was lovely. And then just being head down and work for a month has been a grind. So I blew off some steam in Wrightsville Beach on a triathlon this weekend with some college buddies, and it was so fun. Got to race, got to go eat and drink with some friends, and came back
So good.
feeling filled up. It was really awesome.
So good.
So good. So yeah. So what are we talking about today? I think we're
That's so
totally
good.
off topic of compensation and how to figure out how much money to pay somebody.
No, because I'm compensating for a lot when I go play golf. So I think it's actually right on line with
Right
compensation.
online. Yeah.
So, yeah, well, you mentioned before this, you've been walking a lot of people through the hiring process, right? It kind of, it feels like it goes in waves with clients. Like your clients all go through it at the time, my clients all go through it at a time. It's kind of how we feel as coaches as a whole. In the compensation world, where have you seen a hang up for your people? What are they doing that you're like, we got to work through this a little bit? Or what are they not doing where you're like, we got to work through this a little bit?
So in competition's funny. I mean, money's
Ha
funny,
ha ha
right?
ha 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 ha.
Haha, not funny, haha. Compensation's funny because people have an expectation of, I am this project manager, I am this estimator, and Google says I'm worth X, or I feel
Yep.
my family says I'm worth Y. And if
Yeah.
I'm not worth Y, my family's not eating. And so I've had a struggle lately. I've been hiring bookkeepers, I've been hiring CEOs to run companies, I've hired project manager, like a superintendent. So we've had a couple of different like ranges of hires, but you're trying to balance the need that our company has, the ability of our company to pay you, and the right
Mm.
fit of a person that says that matches my skill set and my monetary needs. So it's kind of an interesting, art and science puzzle piece fitting together.
You said a few things there. You're working on, and I think you said three things. I'll try to remember them. That's why we write things down, people. My notepad has escaped me.
Record,
That's on
remind,
me. Re-
receive, record, remind, report, the 4 R's of our
Nailed it.
core values.
Nailed it. So you said companies are basing it on the need for someone?
So you got to assess your gaps in your company, your gaps in
Yep.
what roles you need.
The need
Um,
for someone, the range of which you could pay them was the next
range of
one.
yeah, so how much cash do you have, free cash available to put into that person and invest in a person?
Yep. And the
And
third
then
one was
I don't remember. Oh, does it work for them? Is it a fit for them? And is
fit
there
for
the
the
right
role.
amount of
Yep.
incentive versus compensation to motivate them to grow them, 1, 2, 3 years down the line, where it's not just like you get a paycheck X for the next 3 years, but there's a way to grow
Yeah.
and develop as a both a monetary and as a leader.
Yeah, that's good. So the need that the business has for someone, the range that you can pay the person, then the fit of the person for that role and all facets, compensation and role. I've had some people recently hire salespeople and they didn't have the knack of hunting. Like they didn't want to go hunt. They wanted to be handed a sell and then they just used their relationship and it didn't
Yeah.
work. Now, the need for
Really?
someone was there, the range of pay was there, and we didn't do a good enough job in the hiring process to elicit those things. And what we realized is the fit wasn't right because they weren't hunting down things. And the owner is a hunter in all facets of the word. And
Can I
he
tell
was
you a
like,
shocking thing that's happened to me this year? I have fired two people, or my company's clients have fired two people with MBAs. They hired them thinking, oh, I like this person. They're very smart. They've got an education. They're going to figure it out. They're going to hit the ground running. I came into both of those without running our hiring process, without seeing kind of doing any, I didn't do any interviewing. Not that I would make a difference, but they didn't follow a real process to see. And then, so they both were just not good fits. And they're not great
yeah,
people, wonderful people, just not
yeah,
good fits. So I thought that was so funny because I'm thinking, oh, you got your MBA. Oh, you know your stuff,
it should
man.
be all right. Yeah, it
You
should be
got
all
some
right.
chops. And it hadn't been the case.
Have you ever gone to grad school? Did you do any grad school work?
I did do some grad school work.
Do
You
you
can't tell.
feel like on the other end of grad school, that's kind of hits my point. Do you feel like on the other end of grad school, you're like, I'm a totally different product? Because you're hiring and you see some of these, you see MBA and you're like, boom, that's the winner. And on the other side of an MBA, are those people like, I'm the same dude I was? I just
Well,
did a
small
couple
business
more
is a lot of
papers.
get it done. And
Yep,
so MBA is a lot of think about it, build a model,
that's right.
assess. There's a lot of like if you're an MBA, you're probably going into a mid-sized company or larger company to do some, it's a slower
Typically,
process. It's more detailed.
that's right.
Small companies usually just we need you to get this done. We need you to close the sale. We need you to execute,
Regardless of
build this.
education, background,
Right.
MBA, you
Yeah.
have to go get this one. Yeah, I just need you to
Mhm.
do it before you leave.
I
Yeah.
think my master's degree gave me about 25%, maybe low, 50% of what I need. It was an excellent education. I learned a
Sure.
ton. I built a great foundation. But the real world of running a nonprofit, running a business is wildly different. Like they
Yep.
don't teach you how, in my leadership in my master's degree didn't teach me how to hire, how to fire a volunteer, how to run a budget, how to run a campaign, any of the basics of like,
I have a question, not to cut you off. Why does business on purpose exist? If like why are we needed if the school didn't teach you any of that stuff?
is this a trick question?
No.
Oh,
Answer the
why are we?
question.
I think that's just we're kind of filling the gap of what
That's it.
is
Look,
like
there's such a need.
common sense to us, but not to a lot of companies.
Yeah. I just had a conversation with a business owner. I talked to you a little bit about it, who has an opportunity to now share with another business in some ways and all this, and even asking on my end. And I don't have, prior to this job, I ran like a pretty big nonprofit like you and had to manage budgets and stuff like that. But the actual X's and O's of cost of goods and building and like that was all absorbed once I got into this role. And even asking what I perceived to be pretty like standard questions who's like business owner for a few years, like I've never heard of that. It's like,
Hmm.
okay, we are needed. Like every time I hear that, I try not to get discouraged. And it's like, no, that's why if people knew all of that, we wouldn't have a job. So I like, yeah, great. You don't know what that is. Let's walk through it. And to hit on the hiring process briefly, it's worth having a written hiring process and it's worth running the script over and over and over again. And guess what? You're making the wrong hires. Go back to the script, figure out where we're not good enough. Go back to it. I've
What are we
had
missing?
more than
Yeah.
two firings this year on my end, two of which were this or this person's awesome, gets inside. They're still great people, not the right role.
Sure. Just not the right one.
I got
Mhm.
two of those this year and a few other firings for some other reasons. So
So we're going to do
all
a
good
three-part
things.
series here on compensation, but what's some of the
Cool.
starting things we need to run on assessing are we
Yeah.
able to hire?
So I'll hit two, one of which is not due to compensation and the other is, and then we'll stick there. First one is we need to, as a business, we need to define the gap in our business. If I'm a home builder and I see that home builder B next door has a project manager, I don't say, I guess I need a project manager. My business looks totally different. I need to identify the gap for my business. And well, it will look different than their project, right? Dickie's construction versus Donnie's construction. Donnie's for the everyday man, Dickie's for the high roller. We all get it. But our companies, even with the same scope, same ideal client, would function totally different because we're different leaders. So the first step is identifying the gap that our business currently has. Is it, man, we have everything we need on the front lines. We need more administrative help. Awesome. Or, hey, I'm like really good at the office. I need someone that can go out and schedule jobs and schedule trades and meet with. And great. What is the gap within your business? It's all going to look different. But that's step one. The second step on our elaborate hiring process, I'm sure we'll walk through that at some point. The second number is identify the budget. What can we pay for
Hmm.
someone? So that's where we'll stick today. That's what we're going to talk a little about today. How do we define a budget? How do we define what Donnie Construction? That's sad. If I ever start a company, unfortunately, I'm probably gonna have to name it Donnie Construction. If we like, if if
Donnie
I'm running
Builds,
Donnie builds. Ooh,
DonnieBuilds.org,
I mean, it might be the Dickie and Donnie show,
DD
and it
Building,
just we need
Double
an
D Building,
LLC. If
Double
there is an
D
attorney,
LLC.
probably not that. I do have a pair of jean shorts.
Hmm.
If we
Fantastic.
can get to, and I'm not, this is very serious. If we
Where did
can
you
get
get your
to
jean shorts from?
five, I made them how like everybody does out of jeans. I
Oh,
just cut them very short. If we can get 500,000 subscribers by the end of 2025, I'll let you see the picture. And I don't know if that incentivizes us to go get them or for people to not sign up, but that picture will go
I think
live.
we've lost subscribers. I think
Perfect. That's
we're
the goal. By the
actively.
way, I don't want to insinuate that I have that picture. I'll take the picture. I do have the shorts.
I see.
Um,
Nice. Yeah, and a gap in
I
hiring
digress.
really is based on a company's function and the leader's
Yep.
personality. So there's both, and I think that's important.
Yeah,
And not it's not just like, oh, our accounting's not right, our bookkeeping's right.
that's right.
As a leader, we do DISC tests, which is a leadership assessment to see how you respond in stress, how you respond in business and leadership. And if you're an I, for example, you're going to have lacking deficiencies in detail-oriented 100%
typically.
completion. And so you're going to need to have a role that may support and drive you crazy, but that's probably the role you're going to need for your company to grow. So I think
Yeah.
it's both functional and personal in that gap.
Yeah. Okay, so let's run this, right? Dickie and Donnie Construction. What's our widget? What do we do? Are we builders or do we build doors? What do we
We
do?
build sheds.
We
We
build
build sheds.
sheds.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um,
like an 8 by 16 shed, maybe a 4 by 6 shed. It's a high volume business. We're in and out in a
yeah.
day. We build what?
It's a pretty sheddy organization.
Yeah, yeah.
Eat
That
shit.
was that was good. You nailed it.
Thanks. Thank you. Nice. All right. So we build sheds. Now, the way that we would want to look at this, so the gap, here's the gap. We need business development. We need someone on the road selling sheds, right?
Mm.
I'm just tired of this shed
You got
myself.
to
So
sell
we're
more
getting
sheds.
got to sell more sheds. Hashtag sell more sheds. So I think for the duration of our podcast, as we start using examples, Dickie and Donnie sell sheds. I think that's our thing long term.
DD
We
sheds.
decided it.
Yeah.
We decided season two was happening in season two. So we
Sheds
decided to
by
sell
Donnie.
sheds. Dickie's got to be involved. D&D sheds, Dickie and Donnie sheds. What do we
Shed.
shed? We shed weight. What do we shed? We shed the bad times. What do we shed? We shed the
Your lawnmowers.
shed them. Shed them. You can ship your pants. You ever see
All
those
right.
old
So how,
Kmart commercials? So sheds. So here's what we need. We've identified the gap. We need someone selling. Now, what can this person afford? Dickie, do I go to Google and say shed salesman market rate?
I would love to put that in GPT and say, what's the average salary of a
Can you?
shed
Do you
salesman?
mind? Actually, while we're here, do you mind?
Absolutely. I don't mind.
Um,
Pull up my Dickie
so
bot. As you know,
while
I
you while you do this, I'll say we typically don't do that only because like if you say what does an average project manager make in construction, that number is not does not relate to the integral parts of your business. Again, you're defining your gap and your business has a different need and can support a different financial piece. I'll tell you this, if you look at industry standard, a lot of the times we find when we go through this exercise, our employee or our clients can actually pay more. So you never know. So we do not want you typically to Google, what does it say?
I wasn't able to find anything about shed salesman salaries in Charlotte, North Carolina. Based on recent labor market sources, the average salary
Labor?
for a shed salesman is about $50,000 to $60,000 per year. But if you have a heavily commission driven salesman, you can earn up to 70,000 plus annually. So
Okay.
I'm just saying there might be a market here that we could run.
Especially in Charlotte. I mean, Charlotte is shedless.
Is
So we gotta shed the market. You know what I'm saying? That's
like metal sheds or wood sheds? I mean, I'm looking at
I
my
think
wood
we
shed.
offer all types of sheds.
We're
I
going to
think,
take you to the wood shed.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
right. We have a breadth of sheds. We are we are hetero schedule. You know, we do all these different kind of sheds. So
No shed. No shed left behind.
no, leave it better than you found it. So okay, here let's run this. We sell sheds, and
We sell
we
sheds.
need a shed salesman.
This
You could have picked
podcast is going to
doors.
get
Nope.
four,
Shit.
four, four listeners.
Okay. We get, but those four will be with us even
They
still.
might
The
run
rest
this
have
thing.
gone.
Yeah, okay. We need
Um,
sheds. Okay.
okay. So there's a couple things we want to look at to find what our budget is because our budget in shed store down the street that doesn't exist in Charlotte, they have a totally different budget than what they can pay. So we want to look at a couple things and I'll come back to the ratio and I'll explain what that is. We want to start with I'll actually build this out with y'all. We use a template, a compensation calculator, and I'll throw it up. If you're listening, I'll explain it. But if you're watching, it's very simple. But what we want to do, and I'll start it with the 3 on the ratio, and I'll explain that. We want to start with this would be for a sales role, right? So for a sales based role, this would work. What's our average total revenue per job, right? So what's our average shed? What's our average ticket price for a shed?
I mean, I think 5 grand's a good number. It's probably
5,000,
low.
I think is fair. What's our cost of good on that? It's not 75, it'd be
Probably
50.
probably 50% on a shed. I mean, are you
Okay.
including our labor, our carpenters too in that?
Yeah, but we've gotten so streamlined our sheds that it's pretty much a go and drop off. So we
Okay.
control a lot of it. So it's
I bet
50% for the sake of
50% is
this.
good. Yeah.
So again, your cost of goods is going to be on an X job. What cost is directly attached to building that thing? Whether it's the house, what's attached to 123 Maple Street? Because your overhead in the office, your electric, your rent, all that is not. So that's cost of goods. So for this, we're saying 50%. So you'll see on here, we look at total revenue, which is all the cents and dollars we bring in. After cost of goods, we're left with another number that we call our real revenue. So on a $5,000 shed, $50,000 cost of goods, our real revenue is half of that, 2,500.
Which
On
is called
5,000,
gross profit on a typical QuickBooks P&L.
yes,
We
yes,
call it real
we
revenue.
call it real
So,
revenue.
a
Yep,
services business is
that's
going to
right.
have about the same revenue, gross revenue as gross profit because they don't have cost of goods per se. But
Nailed it. So,
yeah,
okay, we're looking for this shed. Now, the next thing we got to identify how many sheds do we anticipate this role selling per year? Let's do one a week, 52 sheds a year. Let's just say that. And our incentive for the salesperson is we're going to give them 10% of our real revenue, so 250 bucks per shed. So we
right.
of our revenue, we keep 90% of the real revenue and give 10 to the salesperson as a bonus or compensation, whatever it would be. So let's say 250. Then we want to identify what's their base salary. If they're totally commission, you set base at zero. I'm going to set based on that, and we can play around with this. What if we said we're going to start them at 40 grand, right? So we
Okay.
start them at 40 grand. What this is going to do is their total salary, and this is important to know when you think of a salary.
Total salary
Uh,
selling a shed a week.
Selling a shed a week, and that total salary is not what they'd be bringing in. This is what the employer pays. So that would include, and in here we have it. That would include payroll taxes, insurance, rent, utility, any sort of benefits, general overhead, whatever. That typically is a 26% increase. It's just a rough number, but you got to know if I'm paying someone a $100,000 salary, that costs the business on average 126,000. Add 26% for the business's input because you got to pay all the extra things they don't get, right?
Right.
So 40,000 fixed, their total salary from the business is 5,400, and then that's going to be their compensation. Now, what we'll do is we'll take into place this 52 by 250, and I'm trying to see where that does that come in here.
Would be outcomes down there. Additional real revenue
Oh,
needed
that's
to
right.
generate annually.
That's right. So we look down here, and what that'll do, that'll give you a number, right? So you'll look and you'll say, okay, they're going to bring in 40, add 26%. We're going to pay 50 by 4, and then I'm going to include 52 times 250, right? Because that's their 52 sheds a year or whatever number times the whatever that is. So if it's a percentage, just take your average ticket price. So for us, it'd be 52 times 250. And what we know is that the real revenue or the gross profit that this role needs to bring in to be a 3-to-1 ratio. By the way, that's generally what we want for a salesperson. I think there are
Mhm.
certain times where if they're taking a lot off someone's plate, we can maybe do 2-to-1, but let's say 3-to-1. So, okay, 3-to-1 ratio. If I'm paying
Three
this
to one,
person,
4 to 1's a great number
yeah,
for
especially for a
margin.
direct sales. Yes,
Yeah.
direct sales. That's what we'd want because we want them not only bringing in enough money to pay for their salary, but to give us more money. Right. So if they're paying roughly, we're paying them 50 grand a year. We need them bringing in 150
Of
in
real
real
revenue,
revenue to three
right?
to one what we're paying them. But
Which is
again, we're 50% cost of goods. So in total shed sales, we need $302,000 of revenue for this one salesperson. Pretty easy sales metrics. Divide 300 by 12. That's how much you got to get each month. Like, hey, this is our goal because we need you to hit 300 to give us this ratio. So you might see that and say, man, they can make more than 300. Okay, so maybe we just change it to a 4-to-1 ratio and now we got 400. But if we want to stick to a 3-to-1 ratio and you're like, man, they're going to make way more than 300. Okay, what if I paid them 55,000? Yeah, they'll probably make 415, which means we can afford if we genuinely think a new salesman can bring in 415 in sales, we could afford on this all the situation 55 a year. Whew, that changes. Think of offering someone 40 plus commission versus 55 plus commission. And you're like, well, this person's not really, I don't think we should pay him 55. What if we started at 45? Oh, easy money, we can get 340 a month, right? So it just lets you play around, but it's all based on your average ticket price, your cost of goods, and the amount you think this person can sell. In the
Yeah,
next couple weeks,
and I like the idea if I'm a true salesman and let the big dog walk like a big dog, roll like a big stone, going out
thank you
to,
for that.
yeah, you're welcome for that. If I'm going out to sell, like, yeah, make my base salary lower, but
My
give me
commission a little
three or
higher.
400 bucks a shed, and
Right.
then let me eat, let me go.
Yeah. So That's a pretty rough, it's not even that rough of a calculation, but don't just Google shed salesman salary. Look at what your business can actually support. So
Mm.
you have a general idea. Well, Dickie and Donny have been selling 800 grand a year each. So on year one, do we think they could bring in 400? Yeah, with our systems, our processes, and our, well, we sell shed all day long. So like it just works, right? So yeah, for them to bring in 400, what would that look like? Or do we make it them a little, do we say, hey, we're going to make your commission 20 grand, but you get $500 a shed? And you're like, whew, if I can sell one shed a week, that's $500 for my family, right? And you can build that out. We're going to be building out with Dickie a pro forma to show a salesperson what they can do long term to be able to give them a visual for, hey, 3 years in, like, yeah, we'll start at 30 with 250 a shed. Year two, 25 base with 300 a shed. Year three is a 20 base with 500 a shed in it. Okay, so if I stay here for 3 years and I perform the way I need to, I see actually my up double my salary if I'm after this.
And
That's
I
what we
I
would
really
want.
love the way we run our performa because it's
I do
giving
too.
giving a road for people to understand where my base salary and my salary
Yeah.
now isn't where it's going to be next year. And so there's really a
Yeah.
desire for growth. We're trying to teach people you're growing in this
Hmm.
role. You're not here just to fill a role. We need you to develop, grow, sell more, grow
Yeah.
more. And I really think that performa gives a trajectory for development.
It's clarity. Clarity is kindness. It gives clarity to someone of like, okay, so maybe after everything I'm making on a healthy projection, I'm making 55 this year, but if I keep grinding next year, I can make 70. Who gets a $15,000 raise year one? Well, me if I do play my cards right. So it just gives some clarity. Now, Dickie, this is pretty clear for a salesperson when we talk about, hey, if that person can bring in 150 in real revenue, pay them 50 because we want a 3-to-1 ratio. If your role, think of like an administrative helper, office admin, whatever it would be, and they don't directly generate revenue, do we look at that the same? How do we look at that?
Yeah, so if they're not a direct generator, they're just a true operation expense. But you need to know, and that's fine to have admins, and it's wonderful to
Oh
have
yeah.
bookkeepers and people that support the work. In those roles, you just want to make sure that they are allowing more revenue to grow. So that could be a marketing role. Well, how does this marketing role get us more or better leads, better clients,
Hmm.
a larger ticket price, more volume of projects. So that
Yep.
marketing role directly impacts revenue. It doesn't it indirectly impacts revenue, but it makes a difference in your financial picture.
Yeah.
Unless you're just out, to fill seats and pay paychecks and you don't care about it. But in our case, we're like, yeah, we want to make.
I walked through this. This was this morning, actually. Wow, today has been a long day, I guess. I walked through this morning with one of my business owners. He's a fabricator for countertops, and he has 2 or 3 people on his sales team, and they are eyes on the disc. They're great with people. The details is the thing that falls off the table because they're going to make the next connection. Or when they get to the office, they're going to tell the shop manager the huge job they just sold and what doesn't happen, the paperwork. Now, they've got systems and processes and all that. But the owner came to me and said, hey, I have this thought. It's him and his 2 salespeople. Like, what if I hired someone to manage all of our sales team's paperwork so that I didn't have to do it and they didn't have to do it? And I was like, sounds great. Like, what will we do? He's like, well, how would we know what we could pay him? Because I've done sales pro formas with him. And so the way we looked at that is if that person's not directly generating revenue, but here's what I asked him. How much time does that free up from salesperson one, two, and three? Well, that'd free up 15 hours a week for all of us of paperwork. Okay. So
Mhm.
how much money can salesperson one go and now generate because they have 15 hours less of paperwork? Oh, well, that's an extra 50 grand a month. Awesome. How about salesperson two? It's an extra 50 grand a month. What about three? That's yeah. So okay, so we can get 150,000 in sales extra a month from this role. Yeah, okay, so 150 times 12 is whatever number, right? And we back ended that way, whatever it is. So if that person doesn't directly generate revenue, we want to try and find if we're hiring them, they should be freeing somebody up to go do more. So how much are they freeing up this person to go do more? And how do we make sure that, if that can bring us 600 grand in real revenue, great, whatever. Then we,
Yeah, and I'd say one of the missing parts of leadership and management is the conversation that you have with those salespeople to say, we're hiring somebody. Now you need to work harder. And they're going to say, oh, heck no. What do you mean I got to work harder? So the way to approach it and the way to learn is to say, hey, we see this pain point. We'd like to
Hmm.
alleviate this. It's going to require you selling one more countertop every month
That's it.
and a little bit more of a emotional intelligence to work with your sales
So
team
good.
instead of just like, hey, I hired somebody, go sell more. And then they're like, oh,
Well, the
freaking boss
result,
wants
that's
more
so
all the
good,
time.
Dickie. The result is the same. Hey, I'm doing less paperwork and I'm doing more selling. You can get there by saying, hey, you got to go sell more. I'm going to do the paperwork for it. You just got to go sell more versus, hey, I see a pain point. I'm going to bring someone in to alleviate that so you can go do what you do very well. And it's
Love
like
it.
both of those are less paperwork and more sales, one of which I'm amped up and one of which I'm ticked off. So,
Mm,
yeah, there's a lot of emotional intelligence involved in that.
love
So,
that.
yeah, hiring process, define the gap that you have in your business, not what the Joneses say you need. Like, no, what do we need? What do we actually need? And then identify the budget based on how much revenue will this role generate for the business? And then how do we pay based on that? So, yeah, anything you'd add to that, Dickie?
I love it, man. I really think our shed business is well on its way.
Dickie and Donnie Sheds. We'll have a company logo next week to reveal, and it'll be great. And we
I
do all
actually
types
just
of
chat
sheds.
GPT'd that just now, and
How
it's
long do we have to
working.
wait for it to happen? Okay,
You know, it's
so
gonna take.
here's what you can do. You can call. Do I leave my real cell phone number to see if anybody calls me about a shed?
We'll debut that next week, the Dickie and
Okay, I
Donny
was gonna say I'll give you
logo
my
on
brother's
sheds.
number,
Oh
so
yes, that would
he
be
would
great.
appreciate that.
It's
Yeah,
working.
we'll debut our whole business strategy. We'll debut our logo. We'll debut our phone number that you can reach out to if you need a shed in the greater Charlotte area. And just remember,
And I'm looking for college kids that need
that's
a
right.
paycheck.
Don't shed on me.
We
That's right.
pay you $0 base, but we pay you 750 per shed you sell. That's the way I'm running it. It's a true hustler's game where you're going to go out and you're going to make some cash selling sheds, and we
You know what
it's a
we should
win-win-win.
do? You know what we could do? One of my old jobs, I used to go around to a lot of college campuses and recruit college students. We had to recruit 2,500 a year. So it was like we were just constantly on college campuses. And we had a pretty big poll in Alabama, both Auburn and Alabama, War Eagle and Roll Tide. And Auburn has a couple things. Auburn may be my favorite campus in America. I haven't seen them all, but
Really?
Auburn
Have you
might be
been to
my
Chapel
favorite
Hill?
one. No, I haven't. No, I haven't. Dickie and Donnie sheds. And then what we'll do is we'll put our little faces right there.
Oh
I
shoot.
wonder, can you put our logo into there and say include this and see like
I probably can. Keep talking.
yeah.
It's keep
Maybe
talking.
stop sharing, pull it up in Slack. I think it's on Slack. I don't want yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So here's what they do. There's a restaurant called Mama G's, and that restaurant it's sandwiches and nachos. And the nachos is a bag of Doritos with slices of cheese melted over them. They're so good. But there's a town next to Auburn called Opelika. And I guess I'm not going to share I don't want it in any way to like. There's a coffee shop there that's well known. They do live music, and nothing they sell has a price. Nothing. You go in and you pay whatever you think it's worth. That's their whole business model. You can get 100 coffees for your whole office. It's nothing. It's only donation based. And I was talking to the owner one day when I was in there because I was like, I would go get a coffee, and he'd be like, "Yeah, do you want to donate anything? How much is it? It's on us. What do you want to donate? Why is it on you? Everything's on us." The muffins, he's like, "How many you want?" They're on us.
Wow.
And I think I paid him $15 because like that's cool. And I asked, and he's like, "We on average probably make 4 to 5 times per item what we would if we charged for it." But he like, is that how we do our sheds? What's this shed worth to you?
Well, that's a good way to say it. I love the way you're thinking.
I just had thought maybe we should sell popsicles on the beach and just say what's it worth because someone who's hot with a cold popsicle might give us $10.
I mean, I always love those kids with the coolers around like festivals or concerts, and they got a bunch of cold waters, and they're just like $1. You're
Simple.
like, heck yeah, this guy is
Dude, you know
awesome.
what would work well? I don't have you ever done like I'm sure you have like a giant tailgate scene?
Hmm.
I did a bunch at Texas A&M. Great tailgating, but there was one clear negative tailgating at Texas A&M.
Which
Ice.
one?
There
Oh,
was no ice ever. The gas stations were out and there was no ice. And people would ride around on these little bikes with a little thing with ice and be like, "Hey, 25 bucks a bag." And if you need ice, you're paying 50 bucks for a couple bags. Like we need to, you know,
yeah.
ice
Selling
shed.
ice in Texas sounds like an ideal. sales roll. I mean, that's like
It's not long lasting. The ice did not last long, but
sure, there's some variables to
um,
that, but the appetite, market appetite has got to be just incredible.
what a if I look up average price of a shed, we're talking.
There's a group called Tough Shed, and it looks like they can deliver, but I don't know if that's like a
Are we just
IKEA
drop shipping
version.
sheds?
Probably. Yeah, they've got some big ones like some stand-up stuff, price. They've
Ooh, a
got
big
some
shed.
yeah,
It's not about the size of your shed; it's about how you use it.
that's right. That's right. Like so like what are you using in your shed? Like do you want this little garden ranch guy for your herbs or do you need something like here where you can the premier barn garage where you
I
could
don't know. I've done some PBGs before and some PRGs. I think like I don't Dickie and Donny sheds.
I like the first one better. I think that's the cute little house here and
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to have like our faces, you know? Or scroll
mm,
down to our logo right there that's on the right. Like,
we need to be wearing like a yellow construction vest instead of a jacket. We've got like our construction vest and our hard hat. Can Devin do a an updated Dickie and Donnie graphic?
maybe, yeah.
What's our biggest seller here? The Premier Pro Ranch Weekender.
I
I
mean, I
mean,
think if I'm a college student, the PPBW down there, the old PPPW size, like
the
it
Weekender.
looks like right there above our front porch. You can put a
Somebody sleeps up there.
mattress.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
where I'm.
Perfect.
Click on it. Yeah, click on it.
Check this out.
We are not sponsored by Tough Shed. They are a competitor that we
Yeah,
look
we're
at.
doing market research, competitive market
Um,
analysis. Is that what they call it?
yeah. It's a
Uh,
7x8 clear interior wall height. That's typically I like at least a minimum of an 8 inch interior wall height. But what do you
yeah,
wall
7 feet.
16 inch on center? That's okay. You can hang a good picture on that. What
16
a
on center is wonderful. I just don't. I like a higher shed. I built a. You can't see my shed directly here, but
what happens if you click those circles right there on there? Does it give us?
wood and rail upgrades.
Does it not
Two
click?
by two window upgrade. You got a couple of colors on that siding, and then you got some larger window upgrades. I mean, I think they're
If
building these.
you
I guess these are 2 by 4. Well, that's decent. Some of the Home Depot sheds are like 2 by 3. I mean, those walls are, yeah, not lasting through any type of torrential rain.
yeah, well, I do like a good three pig situation. Like I'm gonna want some firmness in a lot of
Yeah,
things. My shed's gonna be firm every
yeah.
time. So
You have a firm mattress.
yeah, yeah, we do.
Hmm.
We had a soft one, but we created giant dips in them.
Yeah,
So,
that's my problem too. My wife likes the
so
soft. Yep. Anyways,
okay, Dickie and Donnie sheds. We will be live here shortly. We will be up and running before the end of the quarter. We really will. You think we're joking? You can get a shed through Dickie and Donnie here really soon, and we're going to walk you through. We're going to be the first open trench coat of how we run our business. You want to watch? We got it. You want a bag of chips? We got it. Anything you want, we got it in terms of how we set up our business. But yeah, D&D Sheds is coming at you, and it's coming in hot. And we're going to identify our gaps, and we're going to identify our budget. And we're not going to tell you what the rest we're going to do. Trench coat didn't open on that yet. So
yeah, we're just competing with Tough Shed. We're gonna mark off 10% off Tough Shed and say just as good, but we put a smile on your
I
face.
don't think we want to. This is just me. I don't think we want to go build sheds. I think we want to have sheds that are built and find a way to ship them and install them. I think is what we want to do.
Yes, absolutely. You don't want to be a shed
So
builder? Hey, get some
it's
local
just a lot
college
harder. You got
kids
to
to
find someone
learn.
who can do it. You got to find someone who can do it. You got to train them. I'd rather just say, hey, go
Or
rent
do
this
you
trailer.
or do you build them on site in our warehouse, build the walls, ship them?
I think you build the walls and ship them. I think that is a good model because genuinely you're going to have a few pieces with that, but you can build the walls and then just like have a great way of making sure they're plumb 90 and like get them built.
Not trying to get political, but do we outsource our woodworking to China and ship, months ahead of time? And we ship a bunch of,
I
we go to Hong
think
Kong and
I think because business, I don't know if they've told you yet. BB told me they're willing to send me and you somewhere to like learn about manufacturing. So I say we go to Hong Kong
I've
or
never been to
wherever.
China. I'd love to
Me
go.
either. Me either.
Yeah.
I like their chicken a lot.
Chicken at the Chinese chicken. What's the song? How does it go?
That's not it. If you write chicken and Chinese chicken, you're gonna
I
be
forgot
lost.
the, is it Bare Naked Ladies? Chinese
Nah, nah,
chicken.
nah.
1 week. That's the song. See, I'm a
One
child of
week
the,
since you looked at me.
yeah. That's fine. Where does it say Chinese? Chickadee China, the Chinese chicken. That's the line. You have a drumstick and your
In your
brain
brain.
stops
Okay,
ticking.
my dream song. This is my theme song. Watching X Files with no lights on.
Or
Weird
Dan's La
Dan's
Maison.
amazing.
I hope the smoking man's in this one. Like Harrison
That's you.
Ford, I'm getting frantic.
That's me.
You have questions about business ownership, how to run a business, how to be profitable, how to hire, how to get your finances in order. Dickie and Donnie would love to help. You can reach out to us at businessonpurpose.com/healthy. All right. Have a great day, Donnie. I'll
Don't
see you
shed on
next
me.
week. Don't shed.
All right. Sheds
Peace.
out. Deuces.